Welcome back to Even Ghost Listen. Hello everyone, I'm May. Today we're going to talk about a true story related to fortune telling. When it comes to fortune telling, I wonder if any of you have heard about people who study metaphysics or practice magic. There's a saying that people in these fields must swear an oath to keep secrets from the heavens. It's believed they must choose between three fates: loneliness, poverty, or disability. One of Singapore's most famous fortune tellers was the divine sage Laya, Mr. Christopher Lay. He was visually impaired, and he was renowned for his incredible accuracy in fortune telling. His method was straightforward. Just tell him your birth date, and he'd start analyzing your fortune, your health, your career, your past, and your future. He could predict each year of your life from birth to death, including events like when you'd make money, get married, and how many children you'd have. As he spoke, he recorded everything on a tape. When he stopped the recording, it was a sign that he'd reached the year of your death. I always wanted to have a reading from him, but sadly, Mr. Lay has passed away. So what made Mr. Lay so accurate? Some people say he had help from spirits, while others believe it was a gift of destiny. We'll get to this later. But first, let's dive into a true ghost story. Not sure if any of you have ever had a prophetic dream or had someone give you a message in a dream. I sometimes have these kinds of dreams where a shadowy figure appears, giving me warnings or advice. These dreams don't happen often, but when they do, they're eerily accurate. Once, I dreamt of the shadowy figure telling me, "Your mother is going to have an accident. Go seek protection from God." I told my mom about the dream and urged her to visit temple, but she brushed it off, saying I was overthinking. But on that same day, she got into a car accident. Fortunately, she was okay. Then, last July, I had a similar dream. This time, the figure told me, "On August 22nd, something will happen, and only you can help." I woke up, puzzled about what kind of help might be needed on that date, but because I was so tired, I fell back asleep. When I woke up the next day, I told my mom and sister in our family group chat. I had another strange dream. That figure said something would happen on August 22nd, and I need to be prepared to help. My mom, as usual, said, "Don't overthink it. It's just a dream." As August 22nd approached, I reminded my mom to be cautious, and she agreed. That day came, and I had the day off. I spent the afternoon relaxing, and as it was getting closer to evening, I thought, great. The day's almost over, and nothing happened. Just as I was thinking that, I received a message from my sister. She said she had a nightmare about a man who told her she'd get rich. She turned him down, and he began dragging her. She woke up near the window, hand almost on the latch. It was her first time sleepwalking. She'd never done anything like that before. She was so freaked out that she wondered if she would have climbed out if she hadn't woken up. I told my sister to stay home and rushed over to her place. On the way, I asked, "Did you happen to pick up a spirit marriage red envelope or go anywhere haunted?" She said no. She'd just been going to work as usual. When we arrived at the temple, it was about 7 p.m. I asked my sister to pray and ask God for guidance. We kept drawing fortune sticks, but no matter what, we couldn't get a divine answer. It was getting strange, and after the 15th try, the divination blocks fell in a rare combination, signaling what's known as a locked answer. A temple elder saw us struggling and took an interest in our situation. When he saw the unique combination of the blocks, he called the temple staff over to document it. The elder said, "This is a rare situation. It's called a locked answer. May I ask what question you were asking?" My sister was too nervous to explain, so I described her dream. The elder thought for a moment and said, "In this case, the gods might not want your sister to be asking the question. It could be because of some special reason." I said I would try asking on her behalf, and on my first attempt, I received a stick. When we interpreted the message, it suggested there was an issue involving someone with malicious intent, possibly involving black magic or curses. The elder explained, "If that's the case, You need to identify who's responsible to resolve it. I immediately asked my sister, "Have you given your birth date to anyone?" She replied that she had given it to 2 fortune tellers. I told her, "Oh no, you shouldn't give your birth date to just anyone. There could be many problems if you do." She nodded and said okay. At that moment, I directly asked the deity, "Is it true that these 2 fortune tellers are trying to harm my sister?" The divination cup was tossed, but there was no cup result. At this time, the fortune teller beside us asked my sister, "Did you ever have an unpleasant breakup with a partner?" My sister nodded and said yes. I knew that person. He was a total loser, stingy, and always trying to take advantage of others. The main issue was he showed symptoms of bipolar disorder and deliberately hurt my sister. My sister was perfectly fine, but he secretly put his antidepressants in her food, causing her health problems. Later, after my sister discovered it, he even hit her. After the breakup, he turned around and falsely accused my sister, taking her to court, but later dropped the charges. In the end, my sister ended up filing charges against him, and it was ruled as assault. Then the fortune teller asked me to consult the deity about whether this person had cast a spell on my sister. As a result, 5 cups appeared, but at that moment my sister said, "That little jerk doesn't even have my birth date." We were both puzzled, thinking, if he doesn't have the birth date, how could he cast a spell? The fortune teller provided us with the phone number of another teacher, saying that if we needed to break the spell, we could go to that teacher since their temple didn't handle these matters. After the teacher helped my sister cleanse her spirit, we left. Since my mom was just finishing work, I told her I would pick her up so she wouldn't have to take the MRT. Once we picked her up, we shared what had just happened. My mom then said, "He has your birth date." My sister and I were shocked. How could he have it? My mom explained that before they broke up, he had said he wanted to marry my sister, and his family wanted to match their birth dates. So he asked my mom for her birth date. We had no idea this had happened, and I was so furious I had forgotten about it. I told my mom, "See, I'm glad I mentioned the incident from August 22nd. Sure enough, trouble came again. Later, we picked a day and called the teacher who had been recommended to us for breaking the spell. In the end, this teacher said it was relatively simple to break because the person who cast it didn't have strong abilities and had done something tricky. I asked, "What do you mean by doing something tricky?" The teacher replied, "My spirit says that this person asked a sorcerer to handle it for him. Not only did he try to bargain with the sorcerer, but he also kept complaining during the sorcerer's rituals. The sorcerer, bound by professional ethics, didn't deal with him. However, during the sorcerer's work, he tried to meddle, making it very easy to undo the spell. But once it's undone, all the negative energy will bounce back to that person. You can choose whether or not to send it back to him." I looked at my sister, and she looked back at me. We both said in unison, "Yes, send it back." In the end, the spell was successfully broken. Later, we heard that the little jerk had debts and was being chased, and he ended up getting hit by a car on the road. Thankfully, he wasn't seriously hurt, just suffered an open fracture and spent a long time in the hospital. It was truly a blessing in disguise. As I listened to this story, I couldn't help but reflect on the importance of being cautious with our personal information. Giving away something as sensitive as your Chinese birth date can lead to unforeseen troubles, just like what happened to my sister. It's a reminder that we should be careful about whom we trust and what we share. So remember, never give away your Chinese birth date lightly, especially in the internet. Speaking of trust and unexpected events, I want to share another story that involved Guanyin, the most popular guardian of deity in the Chinese culture. The guardian of the Golden Lotus. Chris and Noel were intrigued by the tales of a hidden temple dedicated to Guanyin, the Chinese goddess of mercy, said to be located deep in the Misty Mountains. Legends claim that those who sought her blessings would find peace and fortune. Determined to uncover the temple's secrets, they set off on an adventurous hike. After hours of trekking through dense fog and steep trails, they stumbled upon an ancient stone path adorned with intricate carvings of Guanyin. Following the path, they soon arrived at a serene temple surrounded by blooming golden lotus flowers. The atmosphere felt sacred, and a soft light emanated from within the temple. As they entered, they found a beautiful statue of Guanyin holding a willow branch. They knelt in front of the statue, and Chris whispered a wish for guidance and prosperity. Suddenly, a gentle voice filled the air, and Guanyin appeared before them, radiant and benevolent. "Your hearts are pure, and your intentions are noble," she said. "But remember, true fortune lies not in wealth, but in compassion and kindness to others." Chris and Noel were deeply moved and vowed to embody her teachings. As a gift, Guanyin bestowed upon them a single golden lotus flower, which symbolized enlightenment and good fortune. She instructed them to share its seeds with those in need. Ending. After returning to their town, Chris and Noel planted the seeds of the golden lotus in a community garden. As the flowers bloomed, they became a symbol of hope and kindness in their community. Inspired by Guanyin's wisdom, they dedicated their time to helping others, realizing that the greatest treasure lay not in the riches they sought, but in the love and compassion they shared with the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please support us by subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating this type of content. Until next time.